We don't have time.
We got a lot of time.
We don't have time. Noah, start the podcast, Noah.
Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to Noah Asked.
Whoa!
That's wacky. Yeah, so we back. We in a new apartment.
Uh-huh.
And it's crazy.
It's crazy.
So today, since we're in a new apartment, in a new city, at a new college for me anyways, I've been thinking about how lonely I am constantly and how it never goes away.
Wow, that's crazy. You know, we live together. I'm literally like, at any given point, I'm less than 20 feet away from you.
And?
All right. Hey, no, if you want to cuddle, just let me know, man.
Okay.
I'll cuddle you if that's what you need.
Okay. Be careful what you wish for.
Ooh.
Be like 3 a.m. I'll be like, what was I?
Hey, do it.
I had a nightmare.
I'm awake at 3 a.m.
Yeah, you are. Fair enough. You'll just be sitting there editing.
Yeah.
But
I mean, Derek will be editing.
Yeah, fair enough.
Derek, get that up.
Because of all that, I was wanting to do a podcast about friendship.
Oh, because we're two friends and we both have podcasts?
Yeah.
And
that's it.
That's not what it is. Okay. Well, what are you trying to ask me, Noah? What do you got? What are you saying?
The first thing is like, are you good at making friends? Or
okay, so that's a funny question because I used to think I was.
Yeah.
But now that I moved to a new place, in a new city, with all these new things, I feel like I'm not. I feel like I'm really bad at it.
Because you were living in small towns.
Yeah.
And now it's like a bigger city.
Yeah, no, it's super odd. And I mean, you know how this is too because you moved from where we went to high school to Austin, Texas, and all that down there. But no, I just went through that much later, like just this last year actually, because I went to Kansas Wesleyan University, which is like 780 people go to that college. There are high schools bigger than that.
For sure.
I think the high schools in Salina actually are bigger than that. But no, so I went there, and before that I went to the high school that we went to, 300 people. And so when you're in that kind of situation, it just feels like, oh, well, I'm just going to see these people every day all the time anyways.
Yeah, if I don't have 4 classes with this person, it's weird. So.
Yeah, and then like you have lunch with everyone at the same exact time every day anyways. So yeah, like before I was like, oh yeah, you know, I can make friends. Super easy.
Sure.
Like I just walk into a class, I start making fun of the professor or something that's going on up there, just like, you know, making jokes under my breath. Then whoever around me laughs, it's like, you are my friend.
Right.
That is how I made friends.
I
came to KU. I cannot do that. People here, I don't know if it's that my jokes are too crass or if that I'm just not as funny as I thought I was. But either way, I'm not making friends. Like I have one guy who messages me every now and then. And I'm like, okay, cool. You're like acquaintance level friend, but like I haven't made any new friends. So I would have to say no. Do you think you're good at making new friends, Noah?
Oh no, I'm terrible. I'm super awkward. And yeah, that's one of those things where I'm just shy, and it's one of those things that it goes away when I'm like with people I'm comfortable with. But especially in like a new college or something, I usually try and be in the front row, but like I am dead silent. I don't talk to the teacher. I don't talk to the other students. I just like do my work and get out.
Well, see, I'll talk to the professor. Like I'll go up and ask him questions and stuff and be like, hey, when you're office hours, when can I come and see you? In that sense, I'm a good student, but I actually don't ever go and see them afterwards. I'm never like, it's like, oh yeah, can we just set up a session and go and like go over this
Can
work?
we have lunch? I'm really lonely.
Yeah. Hey, what are you doing? Can I come over and meet the wife? But no, yeah, like I do a lot of the same stuff. Like I would make jokes at the beginning of the year, this last semester, and by the end it's just like I didn't talk to anyone. I became part of the problem, is what it is. Is that people put on their headphones and just like head down. It's like I'm going to class. I'm on the bus to go to class. Nobody talk to me. Although I have met the most people on the bus. Like every now and then, like the loneliness kind of like creeps in just enough. I'm just like, you know, I gotta have some kind of social interaction, or I'm just gonna lose it. And that's when I'll just be on the bus. And I was like, all right, who on here is like weird looking,
right?
Like weird looking, but not like, you know, weird looking.
Like,
you know?
not gonna kill me, but
yeah, like someone else who has like colored hair, someone who has like cool tattoos. And that's usually what I do, is be like, oh hey, look at that nice tattoo. What is that for? Why'd you do it?
For sure. So have you found like a good place to, like, you said the bus you meet a lot of people, but like is there another place that's like better for meeting people? I don't know. You don't work. I feel like work is a good place.
Yeah.
So that's one place where it's like the school thing that we're talking about, where you're like just forced to see the same people over and over again, so you have to be friends with them.
Yeah. Do you think work friends are viable options for real friends though?
I haven't noticed that is true. No, anybody I've had as a work friend, I think I've kept at arm's length.
Okay.
There's been a couple of people I've tried to be work friends with.
You have long arms.
Yeah. No, I keep them pretty far away.
Yeah.
So, yeah, arm's length. There's one person I tried to, but it just never worked out. But for the most part, your work friends are people who you wouldn't be friends with, but due to circumstances, you're like trying to be comfortable around them. So taking them home or something is just weird because you don't quite mesh enough.
It's almost like dating, but like without sex.
Yeah.
It's dating without any upside is what it is. You're inviting this person to your home. You're possibly like buying them dinner or whatever, or like making dinner for them. You're like, hey, we should hang out because they're coming to your home. You have to entertain, and then they leave without giving you any. But no, it is tough. It's so that I agree with. We've actually been watching Marvelous Mrs. Maisel on Amazon. If you guys haven't seen it, absolutely recommend it. It's great. But there's a line that the dad Abe says in the beginning, which is you have to pick your friends like there's a war going on. And I really vibe with that because it's just like you have to like you find your friends and then you stick to them. You're just like it's like, listen, you are with me, we're with each other, and if we don't stick together, we are gonna die. We're not gonna make it. It's full on what was that, Bird Box? It's like, yes, I'll do everything I say or we are not going to make it.
Oh no.
But yeah, no, it's really rough to make friends. I think work would have been my other one. Outside of that, like clubs and stuff are really good for that.
Yeah, if you have like a good hobby.
Like I know KU has a good rock climbing club, boxing club. From what I hear, most of their clubs are pretty good. Those are just the ones I'm interested in that I haven't gone to yet because of the social anxiety behind it.
And I play frisbee golf every now and then, and like you usually see people on the course who'll be like, hey, like, oh, here's your frisbee or whatever. Yeah. And I feel like there's options for me to talk to people, but I'm not like good enough with people to just like go off of only that we both play frisbee, like maybe once or twice a week,
Yeah, it's like that one option, like you walk up to them, it's like the Telltale Games thing. It's like continue conversation, take frisbee back, and you're just like every time you like look at both, and you're just like take frisbee.
Yeah, I'm not gonna risk the.
It's like I'll maybe say thank you, but past that, nah. I'm gonna adjust my mic really quick. I apologize.
For sure. But talking about that, with our work friends and things like that, how there might not be a viable option, is there something that like separates a friend from an acquaintance? Like something tangible?
Yeah, the fact that they text you first.
Yeah.
I think that to me is a really big reason that I don't have more friends, is because I am such, like, pardon my friends, I'm such a little bitch about it. Is when people like don't start conversations with me, I'm like, oh, they don't want to hang out. They don't want to talk to me. They don't want to hang out with me. Except for you, because I know you. And I know you, if I don't text you, you won't text me ever. Like, you'll send me a meme, like, once every 3 months or something.
For sure.
But, which is why I wanted to move in with you. Because then I'm just like, oh, hey, finally.
You have to talk to me. You're trapped.
Noah has to respond to me. There's no way he can't.
I just put in my power beats all the time.
I'm just like, hey, no, we're out of paper towel rolls. And you just, like, click, 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 turning it up. But no, like, as far as friends go, the difference between a friend and an acquaintance is definitely them making that extra step to want to hang out with you and like thinking about you to be like, oh, hey, I'm going to this party. Do you want to come? Or like anything like that.
For sure.
And that does get harder as you get older, I think, to like really do that because, you start out in grade school with all these people that you already knew and you go to class with them every day and you see them. Of course, you want to hang out with these people afterwards because there's no other options. You get here to a school that's like 40,000 people. You have so many options, and you have your established friends already, maybe from like freshman year or whatever. That's another thing that makes it harder is the fact that we're both transfers.
Yeah.
There's this like underlying, I don't want to say stigma, but there's something there about like between transfers and people who have like been here. I keep punching the mic. I'm so sorry. Between transfers and people who have been here since like day one. I guess we'll just call them day ones. Because like if you transfer in, transfers don't want to talk to other transfers. It seems.
Yeah.
It's like you go in, like you transfer to the school because you were sick and tired of your last one, and now you're here and you've already got a bad attitude about it because you're like, ugh, well I don't want to go to another trash school. If I get any guff from here, then I'm out. And so they're not here to make friends. It seems. I'm a transfer. I'm here to make friends. I'm like, please, anybody talk to me. I'm on Tinder. I'm on Bumble. I'm on Hinge. Come on, I just need something. I need any social interaction. But I mean, do you think that's I guess you haven't transferred yet, but have you noticed anything like that at your other school, where it's like, if you met someone who's like, oh, I'm a transfer student, it seems like they have no friends?
Not necessarily, because I went to a community college, and there it's like a weird mix. It's like the people who like just wanted to like, they have to be there for a job, or they didn't go to school a while ago and now they're going back, and so it's these weird stigmas. And I think because everyone's so different, like everyone's kind of open to something. But yeah, I didn't like see people like gravitating towards each other super easily there either. It's just one of those things where people kind of want to like do their own thing. They're afraid of change. And
Gotcha. Yeah, no, that's making friends is tough. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Like I feel like it should be easier. It always is that option though, like the take frisbee back or continue conversation. And the few times that I have just like hit X to continue conversation, it's never been bad. It's just never been something that lasts.
For sure.
Like I've even gotten people's number like just like sitting on the bus and just talking to them, and just been like, oh hey, yeah, we should hang out sometime, and then like message them a few times, and then I do the thing where it's like, oh, I'm going to wait for them to text me back.
Yeah.
And then, or text me first. And then they never do. A relationship of mine ended that way. like I am such a little pansy about it. Like I was just like, oh wow. And like, I really enjoy this girl and like hanging out with her, and it's great. And she's really sweet and cute. And wait a minute, I'm starting all the conversations. Like, how long is it going to take her to start one?
And that's a weird thing. Like how do you judge like whether it's you're being too pushy or if it's just like, oh, they just naturally don't text first?
See, that's how I judge, and it's probably not the greatest because I know that some people are like just like they won't text first.
That's me.
And that was maybe that was something. Hold on, I gotta go make a call. No, like, I mean, it could have been this girl too. I mean, she could have been my future wife, and I just like was like, hey, text me first, please, and then she never did. But that's usually my litmus is only text them as much as they text me, which for some people is never. Some people it's like every day or every couple days or whatever. But I don't know. Do you have a different way to tell if someone's like actually your friend?
No. Yeah, it's hard. Like I get where like the communication is a big deal, and that's something where I struggle at. So I kind of expect them to do it, which
you can't do that. No,
I can't. It's hard. And so, yeah, I think I try and like bring those out in conversations when we're next to each other, and be like, hey, like, am I bugging you? Am I doing this? Like in a more subtle way than that.
Okay.
And then so you kind of get the judges like, oh, maybe I should just be keeping the first one to text, or maybe I should just let them do it and like, or give them their space. And you can kind of judge that through conversation, but it's a little harder to do that through text because if you just write it out, people are like, that's weird. Like, stay away from me.
Yeah. Okay. I guess I could see that. I don't know. I think I'm just more of a texting kind of person. Like I like in-person interaction way more, don't get me wrong. Like I will always choose like, hey, let's hang out, and super small town thing, let's just drive around town for like 3 hours and talk. I will take that over texting someone any day, unless of course I'm live streaming, in which case whatever, it's like, hey, I'm busy, I'm doing stuff. But no, like how do you ask more subtly? I'm just curious because you're saying you bring it up. So say we're having a conversation, which we are right now, and you want to interject just like, hey, I'm not bothering you, am I? Like, how do you...
Yeah, that's fair. That'd be something like, hey, we haven't texted in a while or something. And be like, oh, maybe we should talk more. Like, do you want me to hit you up sometime or something? And then like,
okay. And then based on their answer from that?
Kind of.
Have you ever gotten shut down from that? Like, just like, hey, we should text more often. Hey, you want
to
hang out
sometime?
sometime?
If everyone's just always saying yes because they're being nice?
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
I don't think so, but I feel like you can like judge based on like physical reactions and stuff that like, I don't know. I feel like I can like read people and like see if they're putting up a front or not.
Okay.
And so.
Do you think I'm putting up a front, Noah?
Always.
I
see through your mask.
Oh, please don't do that. No, someone told me that. It made me real self-conscious for like whole 2 weeks. I was like, am I putting up a front? Am I putting up a mask? Like I always thought,
what am I hiding?
Yeah. I always thought that I was pretty like open. I try as much as possible to be like just me. Like, of course, I'm going to talk to some people a little bit differently depending on like, it's like, oh, this person doesn't like when I cuss. This person doesn't like it when I like, make too many dick jokes, like whatever like that. And so, of course, I'm going to adjust for that. And I have my white people voice where I'm just like, when I'm talking to someone new, I'm like, oh, hi, how are you? Yeah, no, what's up? But But then, of course, I keep punching the mic. I'm so sorry. Our shock mounts are coming in on Wednesday, so don't hate. But no, like, I've always tried to just be myself. Do you ever put up a front for people? Like,
oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I feel like sometimes I feel like my life is a front. Like I just like have my.
Let us know the real you, Noah. Come on.
I don't know if I have a real me. That's the problem. I'm just like a blank canvas, and I just have a closet full of masks.
No, I don't think that's true.
No,
I think you've got a real self underneath that hard shell under there.
No, but sometimes I wonder, just like, like the things where it's like, oh, like, what do you want to do with the rest of your life? And I was like, I don't know. My best friend loves filming podcasts, and I'm like, I really enjoy that too when I'm with him. But like, if I wasn't with you, like, would I? And so it's a whole different scenario.
Yeah.
And
so you become like one of the androids from Detroit. Have you seen playthroughs
not
of that
really.
game? Oh, well, there's a whole thing in the beginning where one of the androids works with an artist, and the artist looks at the android and he says paint, and so he paints what he sees in front of him, or you have the option to. He's like, no, close your eyes and like imagine like yourself and like what it means, and then paint that, and then it's just like really messing with his protocols and stuff, and then it like eventually breaks him and makes him a deviant or whatever. But that's that's kind of what it feels like. You're saying it's just like, oh yeah, I put on all of these things. It's like, but when I close my eyes, I'm myself. Who I am, who's in there, like what is that?
No, it's weird because sometimes like sometimes I'm like, oh, this is clearly the real me, but then I go around someone else and I'm like acting different, and I'm like, well, who am I when I'm alone? And so
who are you when you're alone?
I don't know.
It's not something you want to discuss on a podcast, huh?
No, that's not something I want to discuss without thinking about it.
That's not something I want to discuss at all.
I need to filter that answer.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, well, we'll get back to you in 2 weeks on Noah Asked with the next part. But yeah, I think I answered the question.
For
right?
sure.
Yeah.
No, so I guess like moving on to a different kind of like, we've kind of defined like what a friend is and what it means to you. But when you have your friends, are they usually the same as you or different, like the opposites?
It goes back and forth. I'd say that some of like the best friends I have, are usually pretty different from me in a lot of ways. But willing to listen to me.
For sure.
I definitely am. This is gonna sound weird, but like I like to put myself in more of like a leader role, like no matter who I'm with. So I like people who generally will take my advice.
Fair enough.
And like, I'm able to like mold into my own image, but not as nefarious as that. But I do like to argue though. And so, which because I'll just bring up things and we'll debate topics forever. That's how these podcasts got started. But no, I think my best friends are a little bit different from me, but have the same interests, or like at least the same like kind of core values. Where it's like, let me think of an example here. So, for instance, at my other school, my best friends were two guys who we would just roast each other nonstop. We would find the thing that we were most insecure about.
Lovely.
Yeah, for me it was my double chin. I've got like. It makes it worse that I have a patch here under my chin that doesn't grow hair, which is why I try and shave, because then it doesn't show up. But it really makes my double chin look more profound, and so that's my thing. Another guy was like self-conscious about his jawline or something like that, but we would just make fun of it incessantly, like without any, or I guess relentlessly, just not holding back. And what that would end up doing in core, even though we're bullying each other, is it makes you not care. Like if the more you're exposed to this thing, it's just like, it's like, yeah, that's just something they're gonna make fun of. And so if you jump in on the train with it and you're like, oh, yep, fuck me and my double chin, something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously more clever because we had them snaps, boy. But if you jump in on it, then you start to realize, oh, this isn't a big deal. Like everybody has something about themselves that they don't like.
Definitely.
It could be one thing, could be multiple things. But if you just kind of like realize, oh, hey, we're all people. We're not. No one's perfect. There's no such thing as a perfect person, unless you're Paul Rudd. But yeah. So like
But you guys similarly didn't want like a fake person around,
exactly.
So you'd be willing to like tear you down to see what you looked like without that.
Exactly. We wanted to be around honest people. We were all extremely honest with each other, which is what's really nice. One of my friends is so honest that when one of his best friends who he lives with comes to him for advice. He's like, hey, I wanted to ask you because I know that you're going to tell me the truth, even if it hurts. And it's just like, oh, he was telling me, he's like, oh, that kind of feels bad. Like, oh,
yeah, it's like
I'm
good
sorry.
and bad.
Yeah, like I've hurt your feelings in the past, but I'll be honest.
Yeah.
And that's something I really value is honesty. And so that's our core values in the middle. Our core values were all the same. So I've kind of looped around that a few times. We can move on from it.
Yeah, I've definitely noticed that though with people I see getting married, because a lot of people older than me are just in that phase of life where it's the mid-20s and like you're finding the people who you want to spend the rest of your life with. And especially like my brother and his fiance, like they're the same people in their core, like they're like kind and like deep thought and thinkers and stuff, but like every little thing they're different on, and it's weird that it works. But like since their core is there, then the little things don't really matter.
What kind of little things? Do you mind me asking?
Let me think. Like I was trying to think of all the things that they do match on. They're clean and they're things like that.
Okay.
But
so like what? Okay. So I mean, if you can think of the big things, what are the big things they match on, and maybe we can find little things outside of that.
Oh, they're both like really clean people. They both like really like want to be kind to other people. That's a real important thing to both of them. They're both like physically fit and try and do that.
They're both hot, is what you're saying. Yeah. They're both hot. They're a power couple. Apart, they're like 8s, but together they're like an easy 9.5.
But like, let's say my brother, he's more about like, get the right answer. Doesn't matter how you get it.
Gotcha.
And where she is like, let's take the road best for everyone. And so I feel like that's part of it is like, oh, Logan's willing to sacrifice people's feelings and stuff if he has to. Whereas Laura would be like, oh no, we don't need to. We can like make everyone feel good in this situation.
Gotcha. Okay. But I vibe with that. I see what you're saying. Yeah, I think that is important to have those little differences, but also to have the thing. It keeps it
it's like they
interesting.
both want everyone to succeed, but they just like how they go about it's a little different.
Yeah. Friendships are just, relationships. I mean, they are relationships, but like actual relationships. Yeah, they're like romantic relationships minus the romantic interactions. It's all the same thing, but at the core, one person wants to bang the other person.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, so I've actually been wondering, like, do you think like a guy and a girl can be the best friends without having a romantic relationship?
Short answer, yes. Long answer, maybe not. No, I've had friendships. I mean, I guess we did that one come out? I don't remember. We talked about it at one point where I actually have more female friends than I have guy friends. And I just find it easier to vibe with women because they're, I don't know, it could have something to do with like I was raised by a single mother. And so it's easier for me to connect with women in that way. But I just lost my train of thought. Guys and girls being friends. Okay. But yeah, I have had a lot of instances where I think we're like best friends and we're doing great. But then sometimes feelings start to arise with one person or the other. Yeah. And then things get a little bit more interesting. But I do think it is possible for opposite sexes to be best friends. I mean, especially never mind, I won't make that joke. But no, yeah, I have multiple of my best friends are girls at this point. Best friend. That sounds so weird to say.
Like multiples?
Yeah. Do you think that you can have multiple best friends?
I understand where it's like, oh, these are my top 5.
Yeah.
But like, I don't think I'd call them my best friend because it's like I clearly have a best friend.
All right, no,
and they just know.
I'm gonna ask you the tough question. Who's your best friend? You
don't put me in that situation.
No, you don't have to say.
I don't want to hurt.
Listen, no, I just want to know.
It's this cool ass dude named Jose. I'm sorry, Joey.
Oh, it hurts so bad. Oh God, he probably does video too. But yeah, no, I have multiple people in my top 5 who are female. In fact, I would say it's a majority of them. Yeah, I'd say 2 out of 5 are guys, and 3 out of are females. Do you think it's possible? Have you ever had a female friend that you wouldn't sleep with?
Yeah, but like it's the best friend quality that I think like makes it different. It's like, we spend all of our time together.
Okay, gotcha.
And I haven't had a relationship like that where I've been a friend with someone who like comes over once a week at least and things like that. So it's like, I can understand where it's like, oh, if we have a little distance, it's harder for feels to come along. But like when it's like, oh, we watch movies together and we go to the park together and we play sports together, it's like, oh, then like when you see a person enough, eventually you either start to hate or love their faults. So
yeah, and I think that definitely happens. I did run into an incident with that over this last summer, where one of my top fives, I was I was super duper close with. We were like going to the gym together, and of course, you know, this is back at the other school where there weren't a whole lot of people, and so we would actually spend like every day together. We had a few of the same classes, but then we'd always like end up back in my room playing video games or whatever. And then I was like, hey, let's get fit, and so we started going to the gym more. But eventually, about halfway through the summer, I started to notice like, oh hey, we're starting to drive each other crazy, because it's like we were each other's best friends, yeah, but we didn't have like almost any other friends, because it was the summer and everyone was gone, and so it's just like, oh, this is too much of like a good thing, and now it's just
I totally understand
toxic.
that. I had a friend who, kindest thing, maybe a very kind thing that he did, he let me live with him for a week while my parents had moved out of state. And so I got to stay there so I could end up going on a trip with the church that I was with at the time.
Yeah.
And just living with him for that week, I had a good time, but it just like slowly drove me insane. Like the little things that I didn't have to deal with all the time now became like constant. And then that trip was also, I spent almost all my time with him. And I was like, oh man, this is getting a little too much. And so
what were some of those pet peeves, if you don't mind me asking, or if that wouldn't oust him if he listens?
No, I think I told him during the trip, I was like, man, like you're like calling me out too much. You're being like too nice to me. I'm generally a quiet person.
Yeah.
And he was one of those persons who wanted everyone's voice to be heard. So he'd point out, he'd be like, hey, Noah wants to say something. And I'm like, no, if I really wanted to say something, I would have said it. But the fact that it was like, oh, the moment's passed. Like if you bring attention to it now, it's like all the comedic value was gone or whatever it was. And so there's little things like that, like trying to make me inclusive. And I'm like, I'm my own person. Like if I need something, I will take it for myself. So.
Gotcha. Yeah, you are just like genuinely quiet too, and like which isn't a bad thing. It just means I have to pump up the levels in your mic a little bit more. But no, actually, it's a funny story. Right before we head into an ad break here in a couple minutes, I didn't know you were shy until
you always said that.
Yeah, like I had no idea because we had known each other for so long. Like when you moved back from Austin, I was like super excited. I was like, oh my god, Noah's moving back. I'm so happy. I'm gonna have someone else who's like wacky to like do stuff with. And I was like getting ready to show you to all these people, and you're like, I don't know, I'm shy. I'm like, you're not shy. What are you talking about? Like you don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, right? You don't know about yourself.
But yeah. Anyway, so it looks like not to be the timekeeper, but it's about time for an ad break. Okay. What do you say?
Yeah, sounds good. So we'll be right back. Hey guys, the video podcast this week was brought to you by Humorish. Yep, that's right, that's us. And there's lots of ways to get in contact with us, so feel free to do so at the things listed below. Thank you. Enjoy the podcast.
All right. Wow, what a wacky ad break. That was crazy.
Crazy.
We're sponsored by someone.
Someone.
Possibly ourselves. If you're on YouTube, it's possibly ourselves.
For sure.
But I don't know.
Okay, but before your break, we were talking about how your friend would drive you crazy, or you drive each other crazy, really.
Yeah.
Do you think that had a chance of like ending your relationship?
I don't think long run. Like I think that so here's the issue. Here's the real reason that we started driving each other crazy is because we started annoying each other, and we knew that we were annoying each other, but we like didn't stop.
Yeah.
It's like we both like were aware that this was happening, but like we didn't want to hurt each other's feelings by being like, hey, I don't want to hang out with you. And really, I was afraid of hurting her feelings. And then, like, I guess she was afraid of hurting mine. But, like, my feelings are a lot harder to hurt. And I know that this particular person is a little more sensitive. And so I was like, oh, man, like, this kind of sucks. And so I feel bad about it. I did handle it incorrectly. I started just, like, slowly kind of making up excuses, which weren't, like, completely invalid. It was just like, oh hey, I mean, I know we're working out together, but I'm gonna go run with like this other person, and so I'd leave a little bit early just so I could run more at night. And then like, you know, I had a full-time job at that point, so it was just like we only had a little bit of time anyways. But still, during that time, we managed to kind of drive each other off the walls.
Mm-hmm.
And since then, we've patched it up like completely. Like,
For sure.
But I think no matter what, we would have come to terms with the fact that it's like, okay, let's
Mm-hmm.
call it a break for a little while. But sometimes you need that, a friend break.
For sure. And so, like, is there something that could have pushed that relationship over the edge? Like, I'm wondering, is there things that you see that often ruin relationships other than the most, I guess?
Like any relationship or like friendship relationships?
Friendship, but also just regular relationships. I assume they would have similar answers.
Sometimes I think like romantic relationships get a little bit more complicated, because then it's like, well, depending on the person, it's like, oh, you cannot look at any other person.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, that would be a no-go. It's just like, you can't get mad at me for like acknowledging another person as attractive or acknowledging that kind of stuff. It's like, everyone has their own attractive qualities.
For sure.
And I'm not typically a jealous guy. I used to be really jealous when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
But then I grew up and went through multiple suitors, and now I'm just like, yeah, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
We're all people and all that. But so like, there's that kind of thing. Like, I wouldn't say that I'd typically have friends who would get jealous if I started being like, oh yeah, I'm hanging out with this other person too.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, like you probably wouldn't be hurt if I was like, oh hey, I'm gonna go hang out with Rachel today or whatever.
For sure.
It's like, you fend for yourself, find
Mm-hmm.
your own thing. That I'm coming back
Right.
when I live here. But so there's that. That's a little bit different, because I think in some relationships, and it does entirely depend on like your guys' values, your love languages, all that kind of stuff. And most of them, if you stop spending time with your significant other, they start to feel neglected.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying that friends don't feel that way, but I'm saying that friends are less likely to like be like, oh my God, what did I do wrong?
Yeah, but I feel like it's the same issue there. It's
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, you're spending less time with a person.
Mhm.
Just with a friendship, you just keep calling yourself friends, even though you're probably not anymore. Whereas with
Okay.
a relationship, you call it off, and you're like, okay, we're ending
Mhm.
this. Whereas a friendship, it's like, it just kind of died off. Like, oh, I haven't seen you in forever. And it's like,
Fair
well,
enough.
actually, we're just like,
Although I guess relationships like can do that, because I just described a situation where that happened to
Yeah.
me, where I let it die.
mhm.
Oh man, I'm dumb. But no, I guess that's fair.
Mhm.
To me, it just doesn't feel the same. But I mean, when you lay it out like that, it very clearly has the same kind of
Mhm.
connotations. Do you have a differing opinion, like other than that?
I feel like they have a lot of the same things that like can cause ends of the relationships.
Uh-huh.
Distance is a huge thing, I feel
Mhm.
like, but that also falls into like not
Mhm.
seeing each other as often. And,
Yeah. No, I think so. Here's a funny thing. So it's like, I'm willing to do long distance friendships, but I'm not willing to do long distance relationships.
Yeah.
Why do you think there's that distinction?
Because I feel like with a friendship, like I said, you can kind of fall off, and then
Mhm.
you can like rekindle it a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And while you're off, you can like go see other people,
Mm-hmm.
theoretically.
Okay.
But with a relationship, you are each other's
Mhm.
one, assuming you're monogamous.
Yeah.
And so if you just have the one, then you're lonely all the time when you're not
Mhm.
like talking to each other. And then if the long distance takes a lot more work,
Yeah.
so you got to like make calls constantly and do things like that if you want to keep it at the same level.
That's fair. Some people do that for friends too, though. Like,
Mm-hmm.
which I always found crazy. Like, I know there's a female friend of mine who like calls her friends like every day.
Mm-hmm.
It's like they live, states away, but it's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna call you like every day, every other day, or something like that. I'm like, I can barely remember to text people back sometimes.
Right?
Like, I judge how much somebody likes me based on how much they talk to me first. But then I am just like the worst at responding to text messages,
Mm-hmm.
because I do this thing, well, one, until my watch. And so like I look at my watch, I'm like, okay, cool, I got a message from them. Also, it's 18 degrees outside. Holy shit.
Is it really?
Yes.
Wow.
It's cold. But no, anyways, but no, like I look at my watch, I'm like, oh, cool, whatever. Or I'll like open it, and then I'll be in the middle of something, and so I just won't respond.
Mm-hmm.
And that is, to me, the worst thing, because like I get a little self-conscious when people don't respond to me, but then after like the first 5 minutes, like, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But then I feel terrible if I'm just like, oh shit, I left them on red all day.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times I'll completely forget until I open the app again,
Mm-hmm.
where it's like, this happened to me yesterday. I opened it in the morning, and then I didn't open the app again until the afternoon, because like I kept checking my watch, and I
Mhm.
kept checking my notifications. I just had forgotten that I never responded, so they
Yeah.
weren't gonna like text me. So actually, hold on. That brings me to a quick question outside of that when dealing with communications. How do you feel about double texting?
Just like how far apart, I guess. Like
one right after the other, or even like one, just two texts in a row, any distance between them.
Okay, because you do that a lot.
I do.
Yeah, you send like 5 in a row when it's like something that could have been said in like one like constructed paragraph, but you're just like sentence, word, sentence, word, word. Sentence.
Does that annoy the piss out of you?
A little bit.
Okay.
No, it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
But it's something that I'm like, text message, oop, another, oop, that's definitely Jose. Oh man.
Yeah, no, I do that a lot. See, I always like break them up by like thoughts, or like when I want to be dramatic, it's like words. I never do letter because that annoys me.
Yeah.
Because my son, you know who you are, she will do that where she'll just like send me like letter space letter. I'm like, I want to die. My phone has been going off for the last 10 minutes. It's like I'm like at that point I'm just like mute notifications, throw my phone against the wall, I'm doing something else.
Right. But if you like, I don't care about a double text if like you texted me like a day ago and it's like, oh, I'm just gonna start up the conversation again because I didn't finish it like I should have. And so that's one area where it's like, oh, that's fine. Some people might not like that. Like if it's someone who I didn't want to be talking to and then they double text me, I'm just like, leave me alone. But I would have done that on the first text anyways. So.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, and that gets tough to read too because you know, like I said, I'm on a bunch of dating apps, and so every now and then it's like, can I text them again?
Yeah.
like I mean, they didn't message me back, but it's been a day. Most of the time the answer is no. I mean, a lot of times it's like they don't want to talk to you.
Yeah, if they were excited enough they would have.
Yeah. And so like it's easier to think about it that way. It's like, oh, they found someone hotter. Cool. Not a big deal. And then you go and cry about it. Or get sad in a corner and try to cry but can't. Derek edited that out.
Because you never learned how to show emotion properly.
But we won't get. That's another Noah asked.
That's
Noah asked about human emotions.
Because he is the robot from, what was the game you were talking about earlier?
Detroit.
Yeah.
Detroit Becoming Human.
Yeah.
Or Become Human. That's one. Oh, we don't have a PS4. Never mind. I was gonna say we should live stream that, but
sad.
Xbox One.
I need to become human. I need to learn from a robot like me.
Learn from a robot to become a better human being. Oh my god. Okay.
Well, coming up next, next time. Why do I say that so much? What's wrong with me?
I don't know.
Okay.
You've also been saying wench a lot lately.
I did say it this podcast though.
That's true.
Hey.
But I brought it up because you called me a wench like 3 times in the kitchen. I was like, okay, whatever.
Did I?
You did.
I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. I mean, I'm not actually offended by it. I'm just like, wow, Noah really likes that word.
I don't know.
Carry on.
Okay, but how do you handle borrowing or loaning money with a friend?
I saw a post the other day. This is such a like millennial, Gen Z or whatever the fuck we are kind of thing. Or sorry, whatever the foop we are kind of thing. But it's like, I saw this post on Instagram. It's like, I've always been I got you friend, not a pay me back friend, which is 100% how I am. And actually, I blame your brother for this.
Wise man.
Yeah, your brother's a really smart dude. I would say we should have him on the podcast, but then people would definitely not want to listen anymore.
The only problem is he knows how smart he is.
Yeah.
He's fully aware that he's a genius.
That's the worst. This is like when smart people are self-aware about it. But if you're smart, you should be self-aware. Anyways, but no, like he would be on the podcast, and people would be like, "Wow, he dropped some actual knowledge. That's the best podcast. We never need to listen to.
We don't need to come back. Yeah,
exactly. But no. So when we went to Austin, when did we go to Austin?
3 years ago.
Was it that long ago?
It was a while ago.
Good Lord. So when we went to Austin, he covered me for a couple things, and I was gonna pay him back, and then he goes, "Nah, it's just money." And at first, I was like, that is the most white privilege thing I've ever heard anyone say in my entire life. It's just money. What do you mean it's just money?
People live on that
stuff.
It's
like people think you need it. But then I believe you said something the other day, because we talked about this in the car. It's like it is the most, like, quote unquote, easily acquired and spent resource like that we have. You know, and it really is just money. You know, you can always kind of figure something out, and that sounds really privileged, I think, but I don't know, in my mind, that's like the way I think about it, is like I'm fairly well off. And so I don't mind giving, an extra like $5 on the tip or something. I don't mind giving a homeless person $20. I don't. It's because it's just money, and I'm doing well enough that I'm okay with it. That being said, right now I'm not doing well enough that I should be doing that.
Yeah.
But I do it anyways because I don't know. In friendships, I've always like, whatever. Like, especially if it's like you or like one of my top 5 or something. We're gonna be around each other enough. You'll get me back eventually, like just in like food. Like if it's like, oh hey, I'll pay for your meal, and then next time or a couple times later, they'll pay for my meal. I'm like, all right, whatever, big deal. Do you treat it any
totally
different?
get that. Yeah, there have been a few friends where I feel like they like kind of like took advantage of that, where it's like, oh no, I'll pay, and then it's like, oh, we go even when it's my turn, and it's like, well, wait, we don't split the check when I do it. So
no, and I've been there before because I have a friend whose parent will pay for most of their food, and so when I'm with them, like I always offer to pay. I'm always like, hey, do this, even though I know that they will want to pay for it anyways, because they know that it's like, oh well, we're both college students, and my parent doesn't mind covering me and my friends every now and then or whatever, or me and my friend. It's usually actually only me.
Yeah.
But hey, But no, and like I always like at least the gesture of being like, hey, like I can still cover if I need to. There are times when like we've been with people where they know this happens, and so they just straight up won't bring their wallet at all. Yeah. And then like it's like, are we splitting this or keeping it one? And then like one time they answered, oh, just one. I was like, like that's
bold. Yeah, ask the table first.
Yeah, like bold of you to assume. It's like, oh, if you're gonna say just one, then you're paying. Like that's kind of like my mind. But no, it's just for them to pay. And I was like, I don't feel good about that. So, but I think money is people get their panties up in a bunch about money a lot. But I think most of the time it's like you're never borrowing enough to make like a substantial like divot.
Yeah, usually it's like $20 here or $10 here.
Or like, I mean, even for you or something, it's like if I had the money, I would loan you like $500 to. I'd probably loan you $1,000 at least if I had like that available.
Fair enough.
But then if it's something where it's like, a work friend, it's like, maybe loan you 20. Yeah. But
it totally depends.
It really does, like judge of character and that kind of stuff. And so, to bank at the bank of Joey, get a loan from me. You're gonna have interest.
Outside of money, and I guess inside of money too. But do you have friends that like you care for and love as friends, but like don't really trust them? Because usually trust is a big part of a relationship. Yeah. But like I guess it doesn't have to be if you like share every other interest, and you're just like, well, I just know not to like believe what he's saying here, and know not to give him money here, and like.
That is a toughie, actually.
Yeah. It's one of those things that I feel like can happen, but you don't see very often.
Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to think. I mean, not off the top of my head, which I guess means that they wouldn't be my friend, So no, I think that I value honesty and like trust. Like, I mean, those go kind of hand in hand. It's like you if you're honest with each other, you kind of build up that trust. But if you're not honest, then you don't trust them. And so, yeah, I don't think there's ever anybody I hang out with or who I would hang out with. It's like that. Have you? I mean, yeah, I don't see you hanging out with shady characters a whole lot.
I've had some people who like have big aspirations and like tell you like, okay, we're gonna do this, and I'm like, okay, and like the first time I'm like, yeah, we're gonna do this, and then like they do nothing, like like literally nothing to like move this along, and I'm like, okay, so we're not doing that, and then the next time it's like a week later, and like I've changed, this is what we're gonna do now, and I'm like, okay, I'm picking up, and then like the 10th time I'm just like, yeah, go for it, dude, I got your back no matter what. And then, obviously I know that he's gonna come with it.
Yeah, they fail it. For a second I was like, wait a minute, is he talking about Humorish? Is he talking about my idea for a YouTube channel?
Definitely not.
But no, that I think there's a line with like just in general for people who like follow dreams or like want to, like, it's great to set goals and be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do this, or like we're gonna do this, but there's like that difference between the person that actually does something towards it and someone who like does something towards it once, yeah. And so like I think Humorish is a great example of that. I think I really love doing this because one, it's fun as heck to just like, you know, make videos with my friend. And the fact that the 20 people right now are subscribed to our channel is crazy to me.
It's awesome.
And we have, I think, 1.3 thousand minutes watched in the last 2 months.
Insane.
Why?
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, but why? And you know, it's great. And like tons of people are listening on like Spotify. We're working on getting this podcast on iTunes. And I don't know though, but it's great. I don't know. I guess I just wanted to like swell on that a little bit because it just feels good to like be here doing it. And we stole your desk from your room.
We trying to make it look all pretty and professional.
We were. You guys should have seen the card table we had in here before. It was really funny.
I mean, we would have made it work, but
yeah, but Noah, you made these.
Yeah, they're little metal things. I mean, they came from a box, so it's
no,
like
you made them. You
handmade them.
You took the ore from the ground and refined
smelted it. What is this, Minecraft?
Yeah. But what was your question? Did I answer it?
I think it's answered. No. Okay. But next thing. This is something I haven't really experienced, but I've heard a lot about. And it's about parents being friends with their kids.
Okay.
And so I'm curious about that whole realm, like digging into that.
All right. So,
do you think it should be a thing? I guess
here we go. All right. Personal experience. My childhood, not the greatest. My parents, really strict for a long time, but it was more of like my mom would do whatever my stepfather like told her to do, which is not a healthy relationship.
No.
It's like that's ladies.
That's beside the point.
Yeah, just like public service announcement. If you're in a relationship like that, you should not be in it. Get out of it. But no, once we kind of got out of that, and she got divorced, and now she's remarried and extremely happy. But once we got out of that kind of situation, we started looking at each other. I guess she rather started looking at me more of as an adult, even though I was like a kid.
But you were taking on some responsibilities, like financially and things like that.
But I think she kind of like gained more respect, and so my mom and I now are, I wouldn't say best friends. I'd put her like next to acquaintance level. No, her and I we're pretty close. I can talk to her kind of however I want. I talk to her like no one should ever talk to their mother. I think it's funny to tell my mom to fuck off. You should not tell your mother to fuck off. You will go to your room. You will go to bed without supper, young man, or young lady, or non-binary, whatever, whatever you choose to be.
But you do it out of love, not like, oh, I can be my own person.
It's not like, yeah, fuck you, mom, I hate you. It's like, like
I've gone through this, mom. Don't act like you're so much by.
Well, it's more of like, oh, you should help your grandma walk out to her car. You should help grandma walk out to her car. She's like, no, go spend time with grandma. Go fucking spend time with your mom.
Yeah, right?
she's like, what did you say to me? I was like, yeah, you fucking stand up. Let's go. Let's throw down right here, mom. Right here in the hospital.
Grandma can watch. We're fighting for her love.
Oh my god. But no, I think it's definitely fun to be friends with my mom. But I don't know. I don't think that you should be like that until after you graduate. I think like
a teenager should not get the privilege of being like, yeah, my dad's so cool. He buys us booze for our parties.
Yeah, no, I don't really advocate that kind of stuff. Although, because like, so I didn't. Should I say this on podcast?
I don't know. Maybe not.
Maybe not.
If you're questioning it,
I probably shouldn't. So I didn't do anything questionable until college. I was a sweet kid all through high school. I didn't do. People even went as far as to call me a sweet kid. They called me a good boy, a goody two shoes even. But then I went to college and now I'm rude apparently. What it is I'm just honest, and people don't like honesty. But I think that I not being friends with my mom through that was kind of integral. Like there's always gonna be like the us versus them kind of mentality. It's the same reason you shouldn't be friends with your boss. Yeah. Because like then it becomes hard to be efficient. Then it becomes hard to take orders and actually like do that kind of stuff. And so as a kid, it sucks, but you got to listen to your parents, you know? And you can't do that very well if you've set up this kind of relationship of being friends, because friends don't tell friends what to do. They don't boss each other around. Unless you're my friend, in which case I put myself in a very dominant position. And it's like, you do what I say right now, goddammit.
Or we won't be friends.
Or I'm going home.
Your parents don't have that privilege, though.
I'm calling my mom, telling her to take me home. But yeah, no, I think that it's really important because, a parent's going to whoop your ass if you're being a dickhead. And I'm sorry, we don't cuss on this podcast very much.
Not this one.
I'm trying. Have you noticed I've said fuck significantly less?
Yeah.
Oh,
man.
But yeah, like, because your parents are in charge of making you a good person.
Mm-hmm.
And so they can't make you a good person if you see yourself as an equal to them, because then you're not going to listen to them when they say, hey, you're being a shithead.
Definitely.
Stop it.
Yeah.
Then you're going to be like, no. Fuck you, man. I'm going home or whatever.
Yeah, I know they say that's like some of that stuff like freshman year on like a football team. Like the freshmen are like, oh, I'm hot shit. I killed it in middle school. Yeah. And it's like the seniors like, no, you're not. And like we will show you that you're not. And it's one of those things where it's like, oh, like you needed to be taught that, and now that you've been taught that, now you can be chill. But you needed to get that year out of the way to like really put you in your place. And I feel like that's the same way with parents, just in a different structure.
Yeah, beat you down until like you earn the respect, I guess.
Yeah,
which actually makes sense, even
until they know you have the knowledge that you need.
Yeah, and see, now I'm best friends with my mom because I proved myself, I guess, in that regard.
Passed the trial.
I passed the trial of fire. I did the bullet ant glove thing they do in the Amazon.
Oh man,
that sounds painful. But yeah, no, you can be friends with your parents. You should not be friends with your parents until at least senior year of high school. Like, I think that's when.
So if your parents aren't your friend, understand that that's probably kind of why is that they want to keep the dominance.
Yeah, like, and even after that, your parents will sometimes try to pull dominant stuff, but I think it's because it's hard to give up that power.
Yeah, and sometimes it's just hard to like relate with someone out of your generation, and so that's another reason why like you're like, oh, I kind of want to be that friends with my mom, but it's just hard.
Yeah, no, that's fair. You don't match on the same things. My mom and I definitely clash on a lot of that. For instance, she doesn't find the TV shows that I find funny.
That's upsetting.
It is upsetting.
That's like a core of your personality.
My TV shows are great. Like, people come to me for TV show suggestions because they're like, hey, you're a film major. I'm like, kind of. I'm like, all right, fair enough, I'm listening. And they're like, what are TV shows that you
praised my skills, you have my attention.
Yeah. Well, what are TV shows that you recommend? I'm like, oh, Marvelous Ms. Maisel, Rick and Morty, if you're an intellectual.
If you can handle it.
If you're into smart shit, Rick and Morty. But no, like, my mom doesn't like my TV shows. And then she watched the first episode of Marvelous Ms. Maisel, and she's like, ugh. And then immediately turned on Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, like season 3 or something. And I was hurt. I was like, how dare you? She's like, what? It's funny. I was like, this is garbage. Like, oh my God. Anyways, I digress. How long are we doing here?
It's about wrap-up time, I would say. So, yeah, thanks for listening, guys. It's been a good time. If you want to talk to us, you can come to Twitter and use hashtag #NoahAsked, and we will see that stuff. We also have a Twitter at Humorish_TM, where you can also just do things and hear things, and we're trying to like boost that a little bit. So it's getting more.
Please follow us.
Yeah.
Someone works very hard on it. It's me.
Interesting things are happening. Like, we put on videos and stuff. It's not just empty.
It's not. It is crazy. It's actually really fun to look at it. And see moving images. Just be like, oh, hey, we have things on there that people are liking and all that. But sorry, carry on.
Oh no, you're good. And so next week, are we gonna have both our podcasts, do you think?
Hopefully.
So yeah, next week you can check out me again on Noah Asked, and I do not know what I'm doing yet, but we'll figure it out. And then you can also check out Joey's podcast. I don't know though, the satirical advice podcast.
Hey.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on. We have a email too. I want to make sure you didn't forget that one. If they want to ask questions and help you out, because I know sometimes you have issues thinking of topics. So if you have interesting topics that you want to hear us discuss, we will research them a little bit and then talk about them. You can email humorish.tm@gmail. Go ahead. With the rest.
If you're on YouTube, you can ring the notification bell, and then you can get those when they're coming up. We're trying to do like live streams of games and stuff. So if you're into that, you can see that ahead of time. And those are the things I know about.
all those things will be on Twitter, our live streamed events and all that. We're working on a new schedule to fit our schedule, because we are starting classes. I don't know when this will come out, but we are starting classes on Tuesday the 22nd. And so our schedules will be a little bit wacky. Videos should eventually fall into place, but we're gonna make another update video to kind of talk about that. But yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know, that's it.
That's it.
Bye.